Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the man who would become Pope Francis, began his life far from the grandeur of the Vatican, in a humble setting that shaped his character and values. He was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, on December 17, 1936, a city bustling with culture and diversity. His parents, Italian immigrants, instilled in him a strong work ethic and deep Catholic faith, values that would guide him throughout his life. Young Jorge grew up in a modest neighborhood, playing soccer in the streets and attending local schools, where he developed a love for learning and community. He was a bright student with a curious mind, always eager to explore new ideas and knowledge, but few could have predicted the extraordinary path his life would take. As a young man, Jorge faced a significant health crisis, a serious lung infection that required surgery and a long period of recovery. This experience had a profound impact on him, leading him to consider a deeper commitment to his faith and a life dedicated to spiritual pursuits. In 1958, he entered the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits, a Catholic religious order known for its intellectual rigor, spiritual discipline, and commitment to social justice. This decision marked the beginning of Jorge Bergoglio's transformation from a young man with a bright future to a devoted servant of God, dedicated to a life of faith, service, and humility. Jorge Bergoglio's journey within the Jesuit order was marked by dedication and humility. He embraced the order's emphasis on academic study, earning a degree in philosophy and later studying theology. His superiors recognized his intelligence, compassion, and leadership qualities, entrusting him with increasing responsibilities. On December 13, 1969, at the age of 33, Jorge Bergoglio was ordained as a priest. Father Bergoglio's early priesthood was spent serving the people of Argentina. He worked tirelessly in poor neighborhoods, ministering to the marginalized and advocating for social justice. His deep commitment to the poor and his humble lifestyle earned him the respect and admiration of those he served. His leadership within the Jesuit order continued to grow, and in 1973, he was appointed Provincial Superior of the Jesuits in Argentina, a position he held for 6 years. The year 2013 marked a pivotal moment in the history of the Catholic Church, a year that would be remembered for its significant events and profound changes. Pope Benedict XVI, citing his advanced age and declining health, made the historic decision to resign from the papacy. This was an unprecedented move, as it had been nearly 600 years since a pope had voluntarily stepped down. The world watched with anticipation and curiosity as cardinals from around the globe gathered in the Vatican to elect a new leader for the world's 1.2 billion Catholics. The conclave was shrouded in secrecy, adding to the global intrigue. On March 13, 2013, white smoke billowed from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel, signaling the election of a new pope. The crowds in St. Peter's Square erupted in joy and anticipation. The new pope, to the surprise of many, was Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the former Archbishop of Buenos Aires. His election was unexpected as he was not considered a frontrunner. He chose the name Francis in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi, the 13th century Italian saint known for his humility, poverty, and love for all creatures. This choice reflected Bergoglio's vision for his papacy. The choice of name was significant, signaling a new direction for the Church. It was a clear message of a commitment to simplicity and a focus on the marginalized. Pope Francis was the first Jesuit pope, the first from the Americas, and the first from the Southern Hemisphere. His background brought a fresh perspective to the papacy. His election ushered in an era of change and renewal for the Catholic Church, promising reforms and a renewed focus on compassion and outreach. From the moment he stepped onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, Pope Francis captivated the world with his humility and warmth. He eschewed the traditional papal apartments, choosing instead to live in the Domus Sancti Marthae, a Vatican guest house. He preferred simple vestments, often donning a plain white cassock and black shoes, a stark contrast to the ornate attire of his predecessors. Pope Francis's humility extended beyond his appearance. He regularly washed the feet of prisoners, including women and Muslims, during Holy Thursday services, a gesture of service and love that resonated deeply. He embraced the sick and marginalized, often breaking from his security detail to greet and bless those who reached out to him. His actions spoke louder than words, conveying a message of compassion and inclusion that transcended religious boundaries. Section 5. A shepherd to all. Pope Francis's commitment to inclusion. Pope Francis made it clear from the beginning of his papacy that he intended to lead a church that was open and welcoming to all. His vision was to create a more inclusive environment where everyone felt accepted and valued. He emphasized God's mercy and forgiveness, calling for a more compassionate and less judgmental approach to pastoral care. This approach was a breath of fresh air for many who had long felt alienated. One of his most significant statements came early in his papacy when, asked about gay priests, he responded, "Who am I to judge?" This statement resonated deeply with many. This simple question, "Who am I to judge?" became a hallmark of his papacy, reflecting his belief that the Church should be a place of welcome and support for all, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. It was a powerful message of acceptance. He appointed women to key positions within the Vatican, recognizing their talents and contributions to the Church. This move was seen as a significant step towards gender equality within the Church. He reached out to divorced and remarried Catholics, seeking ways to integrate them more fully into the life of the Church. His efforts were aimed at healing and reconciliation. Pope Francis's emphasis on inclusion signaled a significant shift in tone and approach, offering hope and healing to many who had felt marginalized by the Church. His actions and words have inspired countless individuals to feel a renewed sense of belonging. Section 6. A voice for the voiceless, confronting social and economic injustices. Pope Francis emerged as a powerful advocate for the poor and marginalized, challenging the world to address systemic injustices. He condemned what he called the globalization of indifference, urging people to see the humanity of those suffering from poverty, hunger, and displacement. He criticized trickle-down economics, arguing that it often benefited the wealthy at the expense of the poor. Environmental justice became a cornerstone of his papacy as he called for urgent action to address climate change. His encyclical, Laudato Si', was a groundbreaking document that framed environmental degradation as a moral issue, arguing that caring for creation is an integral part of caring for humanity. Pope Francis challenged world leaders to act responsibly to protect the planet for future generations. His unwavering commitment to social and economic justice cemented his legacy as a pope who stood up for the voiceless and challenged the powerful to create a more just and equitable world. Section 7. Building Bridges of Peace. Pope Francis's international diplomacy. Pope Francis recognized the power of dialogue and diplomacy in a world often divided by conflict and mistrust. He played a pivotal role in brokering the restoration of diplomatic relations between the United States and Cuba after decades of estrangement. He engaged in dialogue with leaders of other faiths, promoting interreligious understanding and cooperation. He worked tirelessly to promote peace in the Middle East, meeting with leaders from both Israel and Palestine. He condemned the persecution of religious minorities, particularly Christians in the Middle East, and called for greater protection of religious freedom. Pope Francis's efforts on the international stage reflected his belief in the power of dialogue to heal divisions and build bridges of understanding. Section 8. Seeking Forgiveness, Inspiring Reconciliation, the Apology to Indigenous Peoples. In a historic act of contrition, Pope Francis issued a formal apology for the Catholic Church's role in the abuse and cultural suppression of Indigenous peoples in Canada's residential school system. These schools, run by the Catholic Church and funded by the Canadian government, forcibly removed Indigenous children from their families and subjected them to assimilation policies that resulted in widespread abuse and the loss of language and culture. Pope Francis's apology, delivered during a visit to Canada in 2022, was a powerful moment of reckoning and reconciliation. He expressed deep sorrow for the Church's role in the residential school system, acknowledging the pain and suffering it caused. His apology was met with mixed reactions from Indigenous communities, with some welcoming it as a step toward healing and others calling for further action from the Church. Section 9. A Legacy of Love and Hope. Pope Francis's Enduring Impact. Pope Francis died on April 21, 2025, leaving behind a legacy of humility, compassion, and unwavering commitment to social justice. His papacy marked a period of significant change and renewal for the Catholic Church, as he challenged traditional power structures and emphasized a more inclusive and merciful approach to pastoral care. His words and actions resonated far beyond the walls of the Vatican, inspiring millions around the world with his message of love, hope, and solidarity with the poor and marginalized. Pope Francis's impact on the Church and the world will continue to be debated and discussed for years to come. His emphasis on dialogue, mercy, and care for creation left an indelible mark on the Church, paving the way for a more compassionate and engaged Church in the 21st century. His legacy serves as a powerful reminder that even in a world often driven by division and conflict, love, hope, and the pursuit of justice can prevail.